Hello, and thank you for joining us. This is the LAAGCast. We are the League of Above Average Gamers, here to bring you the very best in video games, entertainment, movies, comic books, all that stuff. It's great. It is the week of Star Wars Day in May.
What? Yes. May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th. Not quite there yet, but we're getting there. With me are, you know them, Max.
Hey.
And Will.
Hi.
So let's get started, guys.
All right.
So, how's everybody doing?
I'm good.
Pretty good.
No complaints.
Do you guys got a stupid thing of the week for me?
I think Will does have a stupid thing of the week for you.
Yeah, kinda.
Yeah, it was kind of a slow week for stupidity. There was actually a lot of smartness going around this week, I thought.
How odd.
Yeah.
That might be the stupid thing. But so there was this headline from Polygon that really caught my eye. Because it said that the God of War director thought that Kratos had to change due to issues with toxic masculinity.
Ah, yes. Those ancient Greek gods and their toxic masculinity.
He was a Spartan. If there was any... Well, I wouldn't call it toxic in their case necessarily, but we all saw 300.
It's just pure masculinity.
Yeah,
the best
that's
kind.
all it is. Just masculinity.
Yeah.
He's a big angry guy, sure. A little bit of a womanizer, if I remember God of War 2, the only one that I played correctly.
That's fair.
But past all that, it's just about beating up some demons.
Yeah, because in the most recent one, he's definitely not a womanizer. He is most dedicated to his now dead wife.
Yeah.
Right.
But this is a long time has passed. A significant amount of time. He has a full grandpa beard.
No, and the reason that I kind of wonder if he actually used the term toxic masculinity or if he was just talking about Kratos needing to change and Polygon editorialized.
Ooh.
Because...
Would they do that?
They would. Because in the game... They handle it so well that it's like, this is not some crazy SJW guy that's like down with the patriarchy. This is some guy who just said that Kratos got older and became a dad.
Right. It's not like it's unrecognizable anymore. Like, he's still the same guy. It's just character development.
Exactly.
Right. And that's great.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not the Kratos expert, so some professional can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, whichever fan is currently screaming into their headset. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
that is not God of War lore. Kratos is that. Ah!
Exactly. We know you're out there.
Please send us a message. We'd love to know you're actually there.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, anyway, in God of War news, let's just jump into that video game news right here. God of War is now the fastest selling PS4 exclusive ever, with 3.1 million copies sold in 3 days.
I guess that doesn't surprise me.
Surprises me. I had no idea it had such a fan base.
Well, how many PS4 exclusives are there really these days?
PS4 has the most exclusives of any game, and it's a considerable amount. It's like over 50 a year, and you might care about, 15 of them.
Right, because they're niche titles.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, but how many, AAA game, besides, this, Bloodborne...
Uncharted,
exactly.
I mean, there's a few.
Tense,
I would say there's a few, and this is... I think it's actually pretty impressive.
Yeah, no, it is.
And I think I did add to that number because I went and bought it as soon as I saw the reviews first day, so I think I got it second or third day.
Are sales numbers processed the same way that most retail sales numbers are, where it's the amount of copies that stores bought versus the amount of copies that customers bought?
Generally, video game sales are not released except for in Europe, and everything is generally based off of sales over there, or what the company reports.
Right.
In this case, I believe it is what the company reported, which would be individual units sold.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And also, God of War director says that he's planning to make 5 more God of War games.
Cool.
And he's going to put them out really fast, apparently.
I don't like hearing that, because to me, that indicates that we're bound for an Assassin's Creed type destination here, where faster release... I already got the next 5 in mind with this action franchise. They're going to get too samey. You don't have any of that sort of, complex reimagining happening when you're trying to bust out the next game next year.
Right. You're right, and that is the first thing that came to my mind. But then I realized just how fun this combat system really is, and if they went and put it into 5 more games and just put different stories around it, I'd probably play all 5 of those games.
But wouldn't it be better if they mixed IPs? Like, wouldn't it be fun to have us use that combat style, but in something else too? Like,
well, what if they also just decided to like go a couple tiers down into Norse mythology and then switch to another mythology? Like, there's so many routes they could go that are so creative and fun, and who knows how much Sony is willing to put into development of various God of War games, because it's like this one and probably the next one are Santa Monica Studio, but that doesn't mean that they won't have another studio somewhere else working on the future God of War that's going to come after that game.
If they make a God of War that is based on Indian mythology, and you're fighting like Krishna,
Yeah.
that would be so amazing.
That would actually.
Imagine the colors that would be happening with Kratos fighting the... I mean, you hardly have to change the looks of them in order to make them good monsters.
Not at all.
Kali? Are you kidding me? Like, these, they were practically designed to be video game bosses.
You're right, and honestly, I don't think there is enough Indian and
mythology
in video games in general.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, give us the Mahabharata, you know? Like, this is a totally untapped source.
Yeah, I love Hinduism and Buddhism. Stick a lot of that in games, and yeah, I'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in the next piece of news, Final Fantasy VII and Tomb Raider.
The original Tomb Raider on PlayStation?
I do believe it is the original Tomb Raider.
Okay. Yeah.
Are finally being inducted into the Video Game Hall of Fame.
What's the Video Game Hall of Fame?
Who knows?
Who organizes that?
I have no idea.
It's all Game of the Year?
It's probably related to ESRB. Because they're like the lobbyist group for the video game industry, so then some other organization builds up to become the official, you know, like... It's in the same way that the Game Awards just became huge. And it's like, who's running the Game Awards? But everyone seems to care about the Game Awards now.
I guess that's true.
It's all marketing.
Yeah, it's all marketing.
Yeah, I would be curious to see, which Hall of Fame this is. I guess I'll be looking that up after the show.
Yeah, but people did seem to be rather happy that Final Fantasy VII was finally being added. So I guess this is a thing that's been around.
Well, Final Fantasy and Tomb Raider are kind of from the same couple of years, I think. So is it like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, where a game has to be a certain age to get in? Or have they been putting in, like, PS4 titles?
I believe they put in current titles sometimes, so it's not like that at all.
That you can't do a Hall of Fame that way.
No. Current titles in the Hall of Fame, it just doesn't work because there's new hype. Everybody's extra pleased with newer stuff. It feels better when it's newer, but it's the old stuff. You need to see if it can stand the test of time.
You need 5 years on it.
At least.
I think that's the amount of time that needs to pass before you can decide if something is a true classic worthy of inclusion into a Hall of Fame.
I think that's fair.
Yeah,
at least.
Anyway, Will, any games adding Battle Royale modes this week?
Yes! Actually, this one I'm more excited for than pretty much any other Battle Royale mode that we've announced so far.
No, because this ain't a shooter.
This ain't no shooter. This is Battle Right, which is a arena brawler, top-down arena brawler style game, kind of in a Warcraft 3 aspect. And it's I enjoyed the game, but it's 2v2 or 3v3 right now. So, what is Battle Royale going to be like?
It's mini World of Warcraft, baby. It's running around on a big map and killing people who you encounter.
Hey, Alterac Valley in World of Warcraft was one of the most fun PvP areas when you could have just like hundreds of people going against each other, essentially. Like, amazing.
Wouldn't it be cool if in one of these Battle Royale games you could, form a temporary alliance with somebody, like actually become like a party, but like it still can only have one winner, so even if you do team up with somebody and mow everybody else down, you would then have to face each other?
Actually, when PUBG was first released, that was listed on their website as one of the features that they were going to add, and it just never actually made it into the game, and they actually started banning people for
doing that,
cooperating with people in solo.
That's too bad, because I feel like that would be a lot of fun. Like, I think that if you were able to make it be more than two, it would be kind of game breaking. Like if people could start forming giant bands, it would completely change into a game where it's a race for two sides to form before combat starts. But just literally being able to make a one-on-one partnership with somebody, I think that'd be an interesting wrinkle.
It's true, and in PUBG they just shouldn't ban people for it, because it's like one time I allied up with another random guy in solo because he was in a house and he was like, "Don't shoot me," and I'm like, "I'm not gonna shoot you, buddy. Come be my buddy." And then about 15 seconds after we had started running next to each other, I turned and I shot him. So that's always gonna happen, right?
That's what I'm saying, man.
Yeah.
All right. So we finally got a trailer for Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah, we all watched that trailer. Max, did you watch that trailer?
Yeah, it's a good story trailer with no gameplay. My favorite.
No gameplay.
They kind of make it look like they might have like, this might be gameplay, guys, but then it immediately cuts back into a full scene and you're like, what was that? Just a fraction of a second of nothing?
I mean, the stupid thing of the week was almost people on Twitter being surprised that John Marston was in the game. Because yes, as somebody put it online, it's shocking that the prequel to Red Dead Redemption would have John Marston in any way featured. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that game.
That is pretty stupid, actually. I think that takes the cake. Yeah, and in other Final Fantasy VII news...
Yeah, I just found this today, actually, because I was looking up something Final Fantasy related, and I happened onto a news article that was just from last week, where this Japanese developer, who has now deleted his personal webpage and stuff after he made these comments, talked about how Squaresoft had to throw out 2 years' worth of work out of the 4 years of work that had gone into the Final Fantasy VII remake because it was unusable garbage that the studio they'd been using had been outsourcing in order to show them anything presentable.
Yeah, then they actually ended up, I believe, firing every single person from that studio, and just they basically just burned it down. Everything that studio did was just gone.
Yep.
They were mad.
Yeah.
They saw what they were getting, and they got real angry.
Yeah.
That game ain't coming out this year.
Well, that's for certain.
Well, they release dated it, didn't they?
I don't believe so.
I'm almost certain that they gave us a late 2018, like a December 2018 release date. I'll have to double check that, but I am very positive that I was shocked at seeing the news saying it had a release date. But even at that time, being like, no way.
I bet you that one of the retailers accidentally just shoved
Listed
it up and with a fake date, because I can't believe that.
Well, you may be correct. You may be correct. That does happen.
All right.
But Will, I'm now excited to hear more about
God of War!
Because, yeah, it seems like you're really into it.
Oh, I'm so into it. So, I am not a completionist in the least. I do not care about getting 100% in any game. And I'm probably not going to get 100% here, to be honest. But I played through the story, and I beat the game.
Oh, you did?
And I'm continuing to play, because it is just such a fun game. So, last time around, I had played for what I think was probably about 6 hours, and, I think you could probably get to where I was in a good 4 hours, even being, a noob. And I hadn't really gotten too much of the game, it seems, because it kind of takes a little bit of time to get started. But after that, I met my new companion, who hangs from my waist and tells me of tales of Norse mythology, and I love that.
Is it just a head?
Oh, it's just a head.
That's so Hellboy.
I know, it's great. I love it. It's so good. And then I also, at a later point, I picked up my brand new weapons, which are actually my old weapons, blades on chains.
Oh, yeah.
And, oh man, they're so fun, because the axe is good for one-on-one single target. It's ice, so it slows people down. The blades are fire. So you're just swinging them around, hitting everything, murdering large groups of enemies.
Because they're all ice-based enemies?
Well, a lot of them are ice-based. There are fire-based enemies, but I haven't felt like any enemies are resistant to fire, while there are ice-resistant enemies.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And, so yeah, overall the story was really enjoyable to play through. There was a lot of fun, little points, but the one thing I'll say about the story is that it's not hard, because, the bosses in the story, for instance, if you get it down, 75% and then you die, you're going to come back and it's going to be, 60% dead. And
I don't like that.
That's only the story bosses.
Oh.
Now,
are they extra hard?
Not really. The story is supposed to be completable by anyone, I feel. I did die to some of these fights.
You weren't playing on the hardest difficulty.
I was not. I was playing on normal.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine then.
Yeah. And it's the fights weren't easy, but they weren't super hard, and even when I died, and I noticed that, it's they wanted anyone to be able to complete it. And I'm willing to bet you on the hardest difficulty, that might not even happen.
It doesn't regenerate health.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That's a better compromise than the skip boss fight button.
Yeah. But there's special bosses on the side that you don't have to beat. Now, these are Dark Souls fights. These guys have skill sets, they're fast, they're threatening. Sometimes they have attacks that'll kill you in just one shot, so you gotta make sure to play it real smart. I've only taken out 2 of them so far, out of 8.
Oh, nice.
But they're real fun, and I've been really enjoying these fights, and they really make me use everything that the combat system has to offer, which is just so much. Once I got a second set of weapons, I had gone down skill trees for fist-based combat, axe combat, bow combat, blade combat, and you're switching between all of these, doing different moves. There's so many different things you can do, and it's all like, it feels kind of like a fighting game button combos, but supernatural. I enjoy it so much.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to give that a shot in the near future.
I'm going to continue to play.
Is it a permanent PS4 exclusive? God of War is a PS4 only.
Oh, definitely, because it is produced by Sony.
Right.
Yeah. So you're not going to be getting that on your Xbox, but I mean...
Or my PC.
Yeah. But this would be a great game to play if you had that PS4 Pro.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Guess I'll just have to play Darksiders.
Yeah.
The knockoff version.
Well, what about you guys? What have you been up to?
Well... I have been putting the finishing touches, I think, on my playthrough of Final Fantasy 15. I've been doing the end game, which is the first thing I'll talk about. It's interesting. It's like I was telling Sam a little before the show. I kind of changed my play style after beating the story, and I started, because throughout the entire game I had pretty much just used the sword weapons, like Ignis's main thing, or not, Noctis's main swords, but in the post game I've started putting 3 or 4 different types of weapons on at any given time and mixing it up. And let me tell you, I wish I'd been doing that from the beginning because it is so much more fun and it feels more strategic to play that way. I really like the daggers.
Daggers are fun. You jump around all over the place.
I don't feel like I even saw any daggers, or maybe I was using one.
Well, Ignis is your dagger user. So,
okay.
I think the Royal Edition starts you with some Mage Mashers that you can put on Ignis.
All right.
And it's good because even though it has lower overall hits, I think that the daggers might have the highest DPS because you're hitting so many times.
That's
so
common because you have to stay in there and continue to hit.
Right. So I've been doing the hard hunts. Got my characters up to level 99. Got the flying car. I haven't done the hard puzzle dungeon yet. I've decided that's going to be the last thing I do, or should I say, second to last thing I do, because I'm going to play the second half of episode Ignis, the second verse, as it's called, which is, I guess, some alternate end game content that changes the ending of the story.
Cool.
But I have now played all of the main parts of the various episodes. I played episode Gladiolus, which was a somewhat diverting, semi-fun brawler.
All right.
That took place, took about an hour and 20 minutes maybe.
When you say brawler, it's just a straight-up brawler?
Well, you are relying a lot more on blocking and counterattacking enemies because you don't dodge at all.
Oh,
like
okay.
It's like you're saying when Noctis equips a shield.
Right.
Gladio is blocking rather than dodging, and his swings are strong but take a long time.
Okay.
So you have to play a little more strategically with him. But the story is kind of whatever on that. It's just he's off doing his own thing for his own reasons and doesn't play into the main plot at all. Episode Prompto figures so strongly into the main plot that it really should have been integrated into the game and or at least prompted you to play it at the correct point of the game, because there's a huge revelation that's devastating to Prompto within the context of that story, and it changes everything about him. It changes his relationships with everybody. I mean, you find out he's a fat kid. That's unrelated.
That's the big news.
That's not the big news. And then it comes up in the main game when you rescue Prompto from his captivity, which you don't see him get captured in his episode, which is weird.
Right.
But and then he just kind of reveals the twist of his episode to you, just real casually, like, okay, guys, here's the truth. Do you hate me now? And then everyone's like, nah, of course not. And then the game moves on.
Accept it and move on.
But I got to tell you, learning that Prompto was a fat kid added a lot to the casual dialogue that happens sometimes where they hop out of the car and Prompto's like, want to hit the crow's nest? And it's like, if you want to put on weight. And Prompto's like, I know. But and the gameplay is the most different in that episode because you're doing a shooter,
Right.
and it doesn't give you enough ammo to really have fun with the machine guns and rocket launchers and stuff that you're using. So you're kind of killing a few enemies with the good guns, and then pew pew pewing very slowly with his main gun.
Right, because the guns take a minute to reload, right?
No, there's actually limited ammo, and you have to pick up more ammo for all the guns
that's
except
right.
for your main pea shooter.
Oh, that's different than when you just play as Prompto in the regular game.
Right.
That's weird, actually.
But then I played episode Ignis, and let me tell you, holy shit, that should have been the game, gameplay-wise. Because one, Ignis he's somewhat of a mage. Like, he's the most magey. He's a sort of a combination of a dragoon and a mage, and with his dagger spells and lance jumping into the air stabs.
Yeah, and if you include regroup, he's also a healer.
Right. So you're constantly having to swap between the three different elements when you're playing as Ignis and you're on the attack. And not only are the three elements different in terms of what they how they damage the enemy, but the gameplay aspect of them is actually different. Like fire
how
hits
he
hard,
moves.
ice hits enemies around you, and lightning has you zipping around like Sonic the Hedgehog, hitting everybody at long distances.
Best one.
But episode Ignis gives you the hook shot. He builds himself a hook shot, and it is so much fun, and I can't believe they didn't integrate that into the main game in any way. It's the last episode they did, so you can tell they were on top of their game when they're doing it.
Yeah.
You're rocking it onto rooftops, onto lampposts, flying around, slamming into enemies. You're so mobile and so controlled in your mobility in a way that Noctis isn't in the main game.
Yeah.
And the story of episode Ignis is holy shit. Holy shit, because in the main game, Ignis goes blind.
Yeah.
After the fight with Leviathan.
Spoilers.
Big spoilers coming. Huge spoilers. And you never find out what happened, but the implication is that he somehow sacrificed his eyes while trying to help Noct in some way.
Yeah.
So all of episode Ignis takes place during the Leviathan fight. You can look out at any time during the episode and you can see Titan out there swatting down Imperial ships.
All right.
That's cool.
And you're attempting to get to Noctis, who's passed out with the dead Luna on the summoning platform.
Oof.
And the Empire's trying to stop you and Arden's trying to stop you, but you meet up with Ravis, and Ravis actually assists you, and so you get some good Ravis backstory. I believe this takes place in Kingsglaive because the game flashes to very well rendered CG while Ravis is talking to you, so I'm assuming it's showing us flashes from Kingsglaive.
Okay.
Ravis lost his arm by trying to put on the sigil ring,
The ring.
and it dissolved his arm away.
Oh, God.
That's cool.
And so when Arden is about to kill Noctis on the platform, and you, Ignis, are pinned down beneath some enemies, the ring has fallen out of Noctis' jacket. Ignis grabs it and puts it on, and the energy flows through him, and you actually get his point of view as his sight starts to burn away.
Ooh.
But the gods favor him and do not kill him. You get a power-up of Ignis with the ring, and then you fight Arden one-on-one. It is badass.
Wow.
That should have been in the main story.
That does sound really
Yeah,
good.
that sounds like a classic Final Fantasy. Here's this character doing his badass thing. Yeah, that's usually the type of thing that you would get during the main game.
And when you beat it, you get an alternate costume for Ignis, where he's wearing casual clothes and has his hair down, and it's his best look.
Oh, really?
Where his hair isn't all the super spike.
Considering that they made Dirge of Cerberus, they could totally just make full games for this and do it way better.
Yeah.
And
Well,
why not?
Dirge of Cerberus was not fun.
No.
And let me tell you, that is
No.
the thing that episode Prompto reminds you the most of.
I believe it.
Yeah, of course.
I really believe it. Because
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking of when you were talking about it.
Yeah, it never even occurred to me, but totally.
But, I've done that. I fought the Adamantoys, but you guys watched me do it. I fought him for about 15 minutes. I chipped off about a fifth of his health, maybe a sixth of his health.
Yeah, I'd say so.
But it wasn't fun gameplay. You're just sitting there whacking him, and there's nothing to dodge or anything, really. So I did use the Ring of Belisii
You
to
start
cheat him.
Dumping your
Alterna.
mana pool.
Because it takes your entire mana bar to cast Alterna once. There's a 15% chance Alterna will work on the Adamantoys. So if you bring a bunch of Ethers and Elixirs, you can just sit on the rock and Alterna him until it warps him into a bubble and compresses him to death.
Only time I ever used the Ether was because of that ring.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
So a pretty fun game with huge flaws, a 6 out of 10.
A 6 out of 10.
Maybe a 6.5 out of 10.
All
No,
right.
I have to take up to 7 because it is a lot of fun. The gameplay is extremely fun, and gameplay is the most important thing.
You know,
Right, that's why I'd give it an 8 out of 10. And I also beat it this week. So.
I can't give it an 8 because the gameplay is very fun but heavily flawed. Despite the
Boss.
fun.
I think I'd also give it a 7. From what I've played.
If the gameplay of episode Ignis was the main gameplay, it would be an 8.
Yeah.
For sure.
You know, last week I did give God of War a rating of 8 out of 10.
But now you're bumping it to 9?
9.5.
Woo-wee!
Yeah.
Oh, it's up there.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Sam, how about you?
Oh, I beat Final Fantasy 15 this week. I'm trailing right behind Max.
All right.
Yeah, pretty good game overall. Gets a little dark in the end, but
So dark.
yeah, that's not too bad.
What hunter rank are you?
Hunter rank, right now I am 4, but like halfway to 5. I'm cleaning up on
You an 8? Nice.
8 isn't the maximum.
It isn't the maximum?
Not only that, but the number of hunter points you need to get to level up shrinks again. It goes from 40 to 30 after 8, so I assume you can get to at least 9, maybe 10.
Yeah, well, it seems like the hunts also, like the amount of hunts seem to shrink down once you get to 8.
I have seen one level 9 hunt that I couldn't access, so I wonder if more hunts will be added as I level up, but I don't know if I'll continue to play.
Yeah.
Nah. Yeah, as I was telling you, if I had one major complaint with the battle system of the game and the way it's played, it's the point warp / warp strike.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the game would be completely playable without it and just a little bit more challenging.
Yeah, it's a little half-baked.
Right. Like, they threw it in because they weren't completely confident in their battle system, like how smooth it actually does work when it comes out. I mean, it's great. But then you get that ability to warp in and out of the fight and all those abilities that just seem too easy.
I mean, you're not wrong, but I have a lot of fun playing my warp strike build and just warping in and out.
Yeah, well, you haven't tried all the different weapons.
Well, that's fair. But I played 25 hours of Warp Strike, and I had a lot of fun, and I still plan to play more.
And all the different weapons have slightly different warp strikes. So you can still be... Because the dagger warp strike's very fast, but if you try to warp strike the broadsword, you kind of like swings it wide and throws it.
That is true.
Yeah.
Don't worry about your timings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I gotta practice all the Warp Strike builds.
Yeah. So I'm glad I beat the game. But, I wouldn't say that it's just really a game about beating the story, It's
to its detriment.
Right, and it's too bad, but at least the rest of it really is fun. It's good to go around, do all the fishing, do all the hunting, do everything you can, just fill up your time.
I never found fishing compelling. I'm really disappointed that that's the thing they decided was going to be Noctis' special skill.
I'm okay with the fishing. It's all right. It's better than most fishing in games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just used to fishing mini games at this point. So many games seem to include it now.
They're all the same.
It's always the same.
But enough about Final Fantasy. Why don't you tell us about Arigami?
Arigami. Yeah, so I got this game this week.
Indeed.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yesterday, actually.
yesterday. Will buy it for me because I needed something to play. Thank you, Will.
Right.
And yeah, this is right up my alley of video games. I like stealth games.
Tenchu, Stealth Assassin.
And that's what this game is. It is Tenchu,
With
Stealth
cell shading.
Assassin, with cell shading and the ability to teleport from one shadow to another as you're going through trying to kill all the guards.
Now, is the goal to kill all the guards? It's not to get to a certain area or to take out a certain one, or is there perhaps going to be more of that kind of thing?
Usually it's get to the end of the level or collect this and then escape.
Okay.
It seems like you'll get reward, like a bonus for killing all the guards, or you'll get a bonus for killing no guards.
Oh, yeah. The no-kill bonus is a class. You gotta have that in ninja stuff.
Agreed.
Right.
I'm glad to hear that is an option. It's not like every level, just kill them all!
Yeah.
I just happen to like systematically killing them all.
Yeah.
But when I started out, I didn't have any way to move or hide, dispose of corpses.
Mm-hmm.
So that became a big problem early on. I was playing on hard at that point, and every corpse I got seemed to get discovered. Those guards have really good ability to see,
corpse vision.
A corpse through, a crack between two gravestones. And they'll, come over and see it, and then they'll get into alarm, and then it's only a matter of time until one of them finds you.
Yeah.
Because, they track pretty well around the level, look everywhere.
As it should be for a ninja game.
Yeah, but you can, if there's a shadow right behind a guard, you can just teleport from in front of him right to behind him and then stealth kill him. So, it takes some skill. I'm feeling like with a little bit more playing, I'll get better and better at it and be able to tell you some more about the story and how good that is, but I haven't gotten into that too much.
One of the other highlights of this game that I'm familiar with is the fact that it can actually be played as a co-op stealth game with another person.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So,
Tenchu had that, didn't it?
Tenchu had a...
Yeah.
It's like some campaigns and a versus mode, I think.
Maybe it was versus.
I feel like it had a co-op mode as well.
You could have played as the guy and the girl at the same
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, I feel like you could.
Yeah, and it's so fun to communicate and systematically take down an entire castle full of guards.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta take out that guy while I take out this guy.
Yeah. I would like to mention that when we say Tenchu, we're speaking of Tenchu Wrath of Heaven on the PlayStation 2, the best Tenchu game of any of us have played.
It's the only one that matters.
Tenchu Z that came after it wasn't as compelling as like make your own ninja, which like took you out of the character because the characters really weren't interesting in Tenchu, like the two ninjas that you could be, and then later when you unlocked the third guy with all his bone cracking animations and stuff, it was very compelling.
Mark of the Ninja. That's a game you should check out. It's 2D, but that's the most fun I've ever had on a...
It's actually in my Steam
library.
I actually think I might have it in my cart right now.
Oh, okay. I played it for many hours.
Okay.
It was extremely fun.
Side-scrolling stealth game, huh?
Yeah, it's really good.
Will was talking to me about side-scrolling stealth.
Yeah, lots of levels to go up and down, and it also uses shadow mechanics.
Ah, nice.
Yeah.
That always looked like a fun game. But Max, why don't you tell us about a not at all stealthy game?
Not at all stealthy. Well, I have finally jumped into, I think it's Generation 7 of Pokemon by purchasing Pokemon UltraSun.
All right.
Now, I did not play Pokemon Sun or Moon, so this is my first time again with this generation, and they have made some changes, let me tell you.
Really?
It is stark how different this game is from all of the previous games, which essentially followed the same pattern.
Give us some examples.
Let's see. For one thing, the graphics have a huge upgrade in that rather than like fixed top-down camera positioning, you now have an active camera moving around. It's sort of like Final Fantasy X, where it's like you're not in control of the camera, but you're kind of down close to your character and you're running through areas that you can't see quite as much of because you're at a lower viewpoint. But yeah, it feels more 3D because of that. The other major difference is that they've completely dispensed with the gym format in terms of progressing through the game. Where in all the previous games, you would go to a town and go find the gym, and then you would fight like 3 to 6 other trainers of a type, and then you would fight a big trainer of that type. This game instead has you completing island challenges. This takes place in the Alola Islands, where even the Pokemon that are from the previous games look slightly different because everything's different in Alola. Like your character has a Meowth, and Meowth is like a weird color or something.
That's cool.
Now it's almost as moving towards a more traditional RPG format because now the challenges are essentially dungeons where you have to fight a certain number of lower level Pokemon before you run into a boss Pokemon who's like a giant supercharged powered up version of a regular one you'd be able to catch.
So you can't catch the boss Pokemon?
You cannot catch the boss Pokemon. They are totem Pokemon.
All right.
That are there specifically to guard the area. In fact, you can't catch anything you fight in the challenge caves until you've beaten the challenge cave. And then you get a little message that pops up that says you are now free to catch anything in this area you want.
You gotta prove yourself before you can take their Pokemon.
You gotta prove yourself. The one thing that they did carry over from the last few games that I really don't like, though, is the fact that your rival is like trying to be your best friend all the time. It's not like a villain rival. It's like your sidekick rival. And in this one, they took it a step further, and they have him choose as his starter the Pokemon that's weak to yours. It's tradition in these games that your rival, like after you make your choice from the first 3, he takes the one that is strong to yours.
Right. The pettiness of your rival choosing whatever Pokemon, he doesn't care as long as it's the one that's strong against you.
Right.
Is just so classic Gary.
You don't have a good reason to hate this guy?
No, not at all. He's like showing you around the island and helping you upgrade your Pokedex, which is actually a Pokemon in this game.
Whoa.
Yeah, there's this Pokemon introduced a couple generations ago called Rotom. That's like an electronic circuit Pokemon, and like he's now in your Pokedex, but he speaks English.
That's not a rivalry at all.
No.
Yeah.
I don't know what rivalry means.
They've downgraded the amount of petting your Pokemon you have to do outside of battle, but they've added this weird thing where sometimes your Pokemon will have some sort of like cosmetic damage after a fight. Like if you were fighting against a water Pokemon, he might be soaking wet, and you need to do the hair dryer after battle to dry him off. When you're fighting in the forest, a lot of times when Pokemon will get really dusty, and I have to brush him out, and then you feed him a Pokebean. And then he likes you more. And what they've added in this game is that if you neglect doing that, then at the beginning of a battle, your Pokemon will like wiggle for a second, and then you get a little message that says like, "Oh, he feels dirty," or like, "Oh, looks like he wants to be petted."
Oh god, too self-conscious to fight.
Oh my god. First couple things you said, I'm like, wow, this sounds like a Pokemon game that I really want to play. And then as you went on, it started to just go down.
Some of it is really aggravating, and this one a lot more than the last two, both the Alpha Sapphire, which I played, and the X and Y. I think I played X. I don't remember. Both of those seem like they're moving in a slightly more adult direction. This one really feels like it's for the kiddies.
That's kind of what it sounds like you're describing. It sounds like it's all friendly and you gotta be, best buddies with everyone and take care of your pets and responsibility.
Now, it does have a couple of weird sci-fi people who've shown up and just like had weird dialogue. They're basically like two RoboCops. And they're like, we do not train Pokemon, but we are here to study, and we don't know what's going to happen with that. The villains, Team Skull, are like pirates who talk like rappers, and they're constantly throwing up like gang sign positions while they talk to you. It's like, yo, what's up, yo? And then like, yo, I can't, it's totally whack that you beat me. And so it's pretty funny.
I love that, actually.
But I do know that one of the things they added for UltraSun and UltraMoon is that in the post-game, all the greatest hits of Team Rocket come back and form a team called Team Rainbow Rocket, led by Giovanni. And so I am looking forward to seeing some things like that.
I've actually heard about that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, I just need the main... What are the names of the two from the cartoon?
Jesse and James.
Jesse James! Yes.
So overall, you'd say that you're enjoying it?
It's fine, but it's not as much fun to me as the last two were, at least not initially. I've only completed one challenge, so I'm basically an eighth through the game.
Got it. So it could pick up, theoretically.
Yeah.
It's made you laugh?
It's goofy.
Okay.
But I'm glad I got it on sale.
Understood. Yeah.
Oh, I'll say that much.
All right.
That's always a treat.
I think that's all we got for video games, guys.
I actually played one other thing.
Right.
Ooh, what did you play?
Let us know.
I played a popular game, early Switch release, Snipper Clips.
Oh.
So this was one of the first, I believe, 3 games released for the Switch, and it was one of those like ones that you could get in the bundle with the actual Switch itself.
Is this a haircutting game?
No.
What is this?
This is a shape-cutting game where you and a friend are each a shape. You're both the same shape, like a rectangle that's round on one side. And you can rotate your shape and use yourself to cut shapes out of your teammate.
Okay.
To make him into different shapes, and he makes you into different shapes. And you have to complete various challenges.
This is a one-player game?
I played 2-player. I don't know how a 1-player version would work.
No, I believe this is only a 2-player or more game.
So you guys played together?
Sure.
No, I did not play this.
No, I played it with a friend.
I'm just familiar with the game.
Got it.
Yeah. So these challenges included things like there would be a space on the wall that's a shape, and you guys got to work together to turn yourselves into the shape and stand on the wall.
Oh, okay.
As that shape.
That's pretty good, actually.
Like that game show.
Yeah, the Japanese one.
Right.
Yes. Or you press a button on the wall and it drops a basketball that you guys need to get to the other side of the play area and get it in the basket. But so you gotta like cut one of you into a bowl or something, and then jump him on the other guy's head, and then have him walk over so that you can both jump together and just tip the basketball into the basket.
This is all too absurd for me to imagine with my feeble mind.
No, I mean, I get it. There's a million games like this on Steam.
Right, so it takes a certain amount of patience and creativity to play this game. As long as you have those two things, you'll have fun.
If you liked this, and being an artist that I know you are, you would probably really enjoy Crayon Physics.
Crayon Physics?
It is. I think it's like $2, $3 on Steam, and it is delightful.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I'll check it out.
Yeah.
All right. Get Crayon Physics, folks.
Yeah. My hearty endorsement.
Yeah. All right, we ready for a break?
Let's take a break.
Yeah, let's take a break.
And we are back to give you the best of television and movies, starting with some news. And to start that off we have, as of the 3rd of this month, it is
today.
the 5th month, right?
Yes.
Ah, cool.
As of today.
As of this morning, Infinity War has brought in $857.3 million, on track to be the fastest billion ever in film history.
Yeah, that's crazy for a movie that you could not just sit down and watch, like if you didn't have a ton of prior knowledge about what's going on in that universe.
Yeah.
Many years of movies went into this.
But I mean, we all saw it coming considering those pre-sales and then how much hype there was, and like there was almost no chance that it wasn't gonna blow all of the previous records out of the water.
And I really do wonder how much of a chunk of people are going to see this who weren't fans before Black Panther.
Oh man, so many Black Panther fans went and saw this.
Yeah.
And then their character got killed!
Spoilers!
But we'll get into that.
Yes.
Yeah, I did see the announcement today that the DC All Access, we knew they were doing Titans and a couple other shows, but yeah, they announced today they're doing Swamp Thing.
Yeah, I actually, when I saw that, I was pretty hyped. And so it sounds like what they're going to do, though, is that they're going to release a 1-hour special. And if that does well, then they'll do more. And if that doesn't do well, then that's Swamp Thing.
Well, if they do anything besides adapting Alan Moore's amazing seminal Swamp Thing run, they're idiots. Because everything about Alan Moore's entire Swamp Thing run, it made Alan Moore. It was one of the things, along with Dark Knight Returns and Watchmen, that kind of invented modern comics. It's a brilliant, brilliant story by itself. I really hope they do it.
Yeah, we're also going to get to see, Mark Verheiden, the writer of Daredevil, from Netflix, not working for Netflix, I guess, which means that no Netflixisms.
Yeah, moving from, or maybe he's bringing Netflix.
Oh, God. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, Daredevil was the first one. It invented all of those Netflix problems.
You're right. I didn't think about that.
Everything that's normalized it in terrible ways.
But him doing it, and then Gary Doberman, who worked on it,
Yeah.
makes it seem like they're going to go with a very horror-influenced version of something, which is correct. That's the Alan Moore version.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
And then, so I think you two are bigger fans of this next one than me, but I like it nonetheless. Arrested Development Season 5 is coming real soon.
It's real soon.
Yeah,
This year, this summer.
I'm very excited for that. I just rewatched all the older seasons.
Including 4?
Including 4.
All right, well, because that's the thing, is that it was also announced, I think tomorrow, that Netflix is going to post the remixed version of Arrested Development Season 4, where it has been cut back into regular Arrested Development episodes instead of character-focused episodes.
Yeah, I bet it will be much shorter of a season that way.
It's actually a good chunk longer, weirdly.
What?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Or, I'm sorry, it's not that it's longer, but it's more episodes. But remember that some of the episodes were like 40 minutes, 45 minutes before?
Oh, yeah.
So that it may be less runtime if he's cutting them all down into like 22-minute episodes.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see that plot, go forward naturally like a plot normally does.
Right, that will be weird. And we know that the next season is not going to be in that kind of weird character format, right?
Yeah. Which begs the question, after all this comes out, will anybody ever watch the original Season 4?
I mean, it is pretty entertaining, even if it is a little weird after going through those first 3 seasons.
But if all the same jokes are in the other version, but you don't get all the repetition, and you don't get the long, draggy bits, because we are stuck with a particular character whose plotline is less interesting,
That's true.
Then it may be the superior version. We'll see.
Yeah. Speaking of Arrested Development, did either of you ever read about the reason that they mentioned it in the Infinity War credits? Because I totally did.
Oh, yeah, I looked it up. It's hilarious. Did you actually look it up, Sam?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's fantastic. As you pointed out, the blue stair car is in the background of the airport fight scene in Civil War.
Right.
And that is because Joe and Anthony Russo directed many episodes of Arrested Development. And so they love to get anything Bluth related in there. And apparently Tobias blew himself right into the collector's collection.
That's a great way to put that.
Yeah, that's the only way to put it.
Just leave it at that. Moving on.
First time he blew himself in years.
Blew himself into outer space.
Oh, man. Yeah, that show, it's just too perfect. The miscommunication.
Well, how can you say we're probably bigger fans of this? Watch Arrested Development again, because it gets better on rewatches.
I mean, that's
it
fair,
really does.
but I tend to think that you guys enjoy television movies more than me in general.
Oh, yeah.
Damn millennials.
I know, right?
I guess I'm a millennial. But anyway.
You're a millennial?
Technically.
Oh my, you're 9 years older than me, and I don't feel like I should be a millennial.
No, I am right on the tip. I'm the oldest of the millennials.
Oh, how unlucky. Mm-hmm. Very unfortunate.
Yeah, I think so. We're ruining everything.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
So they say.
Yeah.
I think we all watched the Ant-Man and the Wasp trailer.
Yes, we did. And I gotta say, guys, I really hope this isn't a movie about Scott Lang being an idiot and Hope Van Dyne doing all the cool stuff. Because all the trailers are pretty much making it look like Scott's the comedy relief and Wasp is the main character.
Max.
Yeah.
This is Marvel we're talking about. The woman has to carry the show.
Nah.
Not Marvel does not. Marvel movies is not like Marvel comics.
Okay, that's
Marvel
fair,
movies
that's fair.
does not bow to that sort of social pressure in the same way. The time they kind of did when they cast Tilda Swinton as the Ancient One in Doctor Strange, it backfired on them.
That's fair. That's fair. But you're right. That is what the trailer looked like. It really did look like it's going to be one of those movies.
I don't think it will be, though. I think that the trailer, yes, looks that way, but they might be making it look that way because that's how the movie starts out.
Right.
And it grows from that.
That is very true.
I am very excited, though, to see that Lawrence Fishburne is in it as Bill Foster, a.k.a. Goliath.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's a deep cut.
Yeah.
That is a deep cut.
Having him
I hope
perfect.
he grows. I want to see giant Lawrence Fishburne somehow have to influence the plot.
And always remember that Marvel loves to fake us out with their trailers, so we're not getting what we think we're getting.
I guess. They didn't fake us out with Doctor Strange.
That's true. But they've been doing more lately, haven't they?
When have they faked us out? Guardians of the Galaxy didn't fake us out.
They just make
Kurt
it,
Russell was gonna be
they
the
just
villain.
make it so you don't know what's actually happening in the movie. They make it seem like this, like they show you a lot without showing you too much.
What they do is that they avoid the problem that so many trailers have of showing you too much of the ending in the stupid trailer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or like some of these trailers that we see basically seem like they're showing you all the plot points. It's like, here's the intro. Oh, here's the thing they do about it. Oh, here's them on the final battle. Like,
Well,
what are you doing?
That's been a problem with movies for a long time, and it's going to go on being a problem for a long time.
They just make nice edits.
Well, speaking of movies with trailers that don't seem to inspire any confidence, I was shocked to read this morning that Solo, a Star Wars story, is on track to make $150 to $170 million over Memorial Day weekend, which would have a debut over Rogue One in overall grosses. I'm shocked. I really thought this was going to be like the first shot across Disney's bow, as far as like you can't do this and keep getting the big numbers every time.
I feel like no matter what... Okay, so I still think they're over-projecting a bit, but I think no matter what, Solo was doomed to do well in the first weekend, but doomed to not do so great once people saw it if it didn't turn out well. Like, I think it's going to... Those first 3 days, great, but if it's not good, then you're going to see those sales fall off real fast.
I don't know if I want it to beat Last Jedi or not. Like, in a way, I want it to not, so that the numbers go down, so that they decide they have to work a little harder to appease their core fan base.
Yeah, but the core
But
fan
on the other
base
hand-
wants to buy it anyway.
On the other hand, Solo does seem more like the kind of Star Wars movie we would want than The Last Jedi did
That is
so
true as
far,
well.
weirdly. like as bad as it looks.
We're upset about some of the casting and a couple of the other little things, but it's like it does look a little more Star Wars than at least Last Jedi felt, because it was what a film.
Yeah, Last Jedi. Last Jedi didn't like the fans.
I
But
feel like making something Star Wars. It's what is Star Wars has become a real murky thing. Hard to really grasp.
commercialized.
It's kind of impressive how they're doing so well with these Marvel movies, and then when it comes to Star Wars, it's like, floundering.
Well, that's because both Last Jedi and Infinity War were subverting of expectations.
That's
because let's just go ahead and start talking about Infinity War, which we all did go and see.
Yeah.
They kill off everyone at the end, or at like 60% of the recognizable heroes.
Right.
They dissolve into nothingness at the end of this movie, and that is a subversion of expectations. That's not the way you expect a movie like this to go.
Right.
The villain wins in this movie. This is pretty close to an Empire Strikes Back.
It also felt like the villain was the
protagonist.
Protagonist, yes. I didn't
Yeah.
want to say protagonist, but yeah, that's what he is. Thanos is the protagonist of this film.
If you want to know if Thanos killed you, go to www.didthanoskill.me.
Now, I want to say, I did this at work this morning, and Thanos killed me. But when I got home today, I got home and I was spared by Thanos, and I feel like that's very symbolic that work Max was killed, but home Max was spared. I do enjoy that dichotomy.
But Thanos would want to get rid of home Max because work Max contributes more to society.
No, Thanos only wants to murder people by complete random chance because that's the only way it's fair, remember?
Right, that's true. He doesn't want to get rid of the lazy people. He just wants to get rid of half the people.
Right.
Whoever it be.
Yeah, he's not trying to form some meritocracy. Like, he's not Apocalypse here, doing the survival of the fittest. Like, he is a true madman.
Yeah,
who is the scariest kind because he's the madman who believes he's more sane than everybody else.
And you know, the thing is, while he's talking about all his insane stuff throughout the movie, because of the fact that it's this level of insanity, he actually sounds more sane than some of these other villains who have less insane goals. It's rather odd, actually.
I mean, Star-Lord definitely seems more insane than Thanos.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
What is wrong with him?
Star-Lord twice really screws up because it's questionable whether or not if he had pulled the trigger immediately before Thanos knew what was going on, if Thanos would have been able to turn his gunshots to bubbles before he could kill Gamora.
Right.
And then secondly, when they almost have the Infinity Gauntlet off of Thanos' hands thanks to Star-Lord's actually good plan, and then he goes total meathead
nincompoop
Star-Lordness and ends up getting everybody killed.
Yeah, well, the thing is that Star-Lord seems like the only character other than maybe Groot. Well, actually, not even, because Groot got... Star-Lord never understood the gravity of the situation.
Yeah,
which is funny because he's been dealing with the Infinity Stones basically like the longest of all these people, at least knowing that Infinity Stones were a thing.
Yeah.
So
it doesn't make any real sense. Like, it just proves that he's an idiot and everybody else has to save his ass all the time.
Star-Lord thinks with, his genitals.
Yes, it's true.
Yeah.
No,
he was overloved, and they're like, we gotta pick a character who everybody loves to do the dick move to move the plot forward.
That is the thing, though, is while it's an aggravating move for him to make, it is not out of character.
It's not.
It's
It
not.
is fully in character, and so technically it is pretty good writing. It's just frustrating because you want all these heroes to win, and this one guy comes along and screws it up. But man, let me tell you, Doctor Strange in this movie,
So good.
Doctor Strange in this movie is way better than Doctor Strange in his own movie. Like this master of the mystic arts, the Crimson Bands of Sidorak.
Yeah.
The Eye of Agamotto. Like, this is the Doctor Strange we want. I want to see a movie with this. He even has an arc. Because in this movie, the dichotomy between the hero and the villain, the heroes and the villains, is that Thanos, the villain, is willing to sacrifice one person he loves to get what he wants. The heroes are repeatedly faced with having to sacrifice somebody, and then Gamora refuses to sacrifice Nebula to keep the Reality Stone safe. And... Doctor Strange refuses to sacrifice Stark to maintain the Time Stone, in complete reversal of what he had said earlier, which is that he'd let anybody die to protect the Time Stone.
Right. Yep. His one goal.
And that is going to work out for them, because they foreshadowed what, the general way things are going to go in this movie very strongly. Not only with multiple discussions of the fact that Loki's been dead before, he may come back, to let everybody know that death is not permanent in this universe.
Yeah.
But the fact that Doctor Strange viewed 16 million realities or whatever, and Thanos won, and all but one.
Yeah.
But that does mean that
We
he
won.
saw the future where we won.
Exactly.
We won.
And that's like the key is the fact that he essentially sacrificed himself and others in order to attempt to reach this one goal, theoretically,
Right.
that was the only way that they could possibly save everybody.
Because I'll tell you what it is right now, is that Thanos was already unstoppable with the number of stones he had. The only way to have any chance of winning is to let Thanos win, and then he takes off the glove, and someone else can go get the glove, and you can do anything with the glove.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true. And they really fake you out at the end of the movie when the glove starts like disintegrating off to make you think that there's going to be like no more glove and this is permanent and there's no way to reverse this.
It's slightly off topic, but I did see a brilliant meme today where somebody had it was two images of Thanos putting the gem onto the glove, but it was Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, and then like you'd see Thanos' face was Mickey Mouse, who was adding Fox Entertainment as the next gem on his Infinity Gauntlet.
Soon they'll erase all the media.
What else about Infinity War? War Machine and Falcon were in it more than I thought they'd be, and that's dope.
They really were, yeah. Definitely didn't shy away from the side characters that we've grown to like.
I feel like War Machine was in it more than Captain America.
Yeah,
You might
Captain
be almost.
America definitely seemed underutilized.
Like, Bucky coming back was almost no big deal. The only good thing about Bucky being back, really, was when he picked up Rocket and they did their little dual shooting thing.
Oh, yeah.
That was nice.
Brilliant. Like, Bucky and Rocket can go be a team now.
Yeah, exactly. And they need to be a team because there's a whole arm situation going on.
Well, that's true. That said, any situation where Thor is not on the Guardians of the Galaxy in the next movie is a failure on Marvel's part.
Right,
And
because, let's face it, Thor was the most entertaining part of this movie.
Bring Bucky and Thor on the next Guardians movie.
Ooh.
That's what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, early on when Star-Lord was, like right off the bat when Star-Lord was imitating Thor's voice, that may be the funniest scene in the movie. Like, it was so funny.
Oh, come on, Drax. It was like, this is not a dude. You are a dude. This is a man.
Exactly.
Totally
good.
did not expect him to say man.
I know.
It's out of left field, but it's
was
so
perfect.
perfect.
Right, you think he's going to say God.
Oh, yeah.
I will say, though, I'm going to say it right here, I do think that if there's a permanent death, it was Loki and Heimdall.
Agreed.
Right.
Although
Killed first.
they did confirm that one of the people beside Thor that was on that ship did survive, so I don't know. It was not a character I knew. But I saw a headline where the directors confirmed someone survived from that ship.
Oh, I wonder if it was one of the Thor's buddies from Ragnarok, like Korg.
Right, we didn't see.
Yeah,
Thor.
exactly. So who knows? They might grab Loki's body and shove it somewhere.
Oh, they didn't just mean Banner, though.
Wait, what?
That Banner / Hulk.
No. They did not mean that. They meant one of the people who, you would assume is dead.
It was pretty cool to see Hulk fight Thanos at the beginning because basically Hulk was the Worf of this movie. They used Hulk right at the beginning to show you how strong Thanos was.
Yeah, that's true.
Made Hulk look like nothing.
Right. And right after, Loki had called back to Avengers 1 with his "We have a Hulk" line, which is what Stark said right before Hulk pounded Loki into dust in the original Avengers.
Yeah.
So it was very symbolic that Loki tries to pull that, and no diggity.
Oh man, yeah, no. It was a really enjoyable movie overall.
What I've been saying to people is that it's like the delicious appetizer sampler of movies.
Yep.
It's like all these amazing fried foods, like all of them are great by themselves, but together it's like this amazing feast of delicious food. And you can even get full on it. You can have it as a whole meal.
Yep.
But it's not going to be quite as fulfilling. You're not going to feel as healthy as you did after eating a full meal or watching, say, a Captain America, The Winter Soldier, which to me is still the tops of Marvel movies because it is so a complete movie that tells its whole story within its plot, with excellent stakes and very good acting and stuff that could only be done with these characters, which to me is you have to have that in any of these movies. Like you have to have a reason why Ant-Man is the movie. Like you have to do stuff only Ant-Man can do. Like so that's why it's still number. And I honestly, in enjoyability, I don't know if this beats Guardians one even.
I mean, in a lot of ways, it was a Guardians movie with a lot of other characters cut in constantly.
This was Guardians 2.5 the same way that Civil War was Avengers 2.5.
Yeah, which overall is a good thing, but it's like, now we need another Guardians movie.
Right.
We do have one question about this movie. Iron Man's suit.
Yes, it's nanobots, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's nanobots.
What are the limits?
That's cool. Right, what are the limits? So he can make thrusters, and he can make guns out of just his nanobots.
And blades, and he can repair
He
things.
shoots those 4 giant fins out of his back at the beginning when he does his crazy repulsor attack on Ebony Maw when him and Doctor Strange are fighting on the streets of New York.
Right, and that's all fine and dandy. But then also he plugs up a hole on the spaceship with some kind of matter-shooting stream.
It was like a glue foam shooter.
A glue foam shooter.
Later in the movie, he even uses on himself to seal up the hole in his chest that Thanos leaves him with.
Considering how sleek his suit is, it's gotta be like, he's not carrying that on his person. It's gotta be part of the whole nanobot thing, right?
Yeah, so basically, this doesn't make sense unless he's basically a walking replicator and is actually phasing matter out of nothing or reconstituting matter around him.
Right, or he's repurposing and playing around with Spider-Man's web shooter technology.
Yes.
But that, I feel, would require a little bit of explanation through dialogue, maybe Spider-Man asking about it.
I hope they do that, and I think that even if they don't, that's deserving of a Marvel No Prize, because that's such a genius solution to a problem that isn't mentioned in there. But yeah, of course, because it's established that Spider-Man's web shooter is a tiny little cartridge. They can shoot out an impressive amount of fluid.
Right, it's an expanding, sticky fluid.
Right. So yeah, I wonder, it's so obvious that I wouldn't be surprised if there's a cutscene in this movie where he seals the hole.
Deleted something.
Right, like he seals the hole and then Spidey's like, hey, like, wait, what kind of polymer are you using there? And it's like, well, actually, it's a modification of the Parker's like, oh man, like it's so cool. Can I get like the patent on that? And Stark's like, oh, I already registered it, kid. Sorry.
Yeah, well, maybe we can do something for you.
Right, like, you got the suit. You got the suit. Right? Like, you're ungrateful for the suit. People call it payment.
Yeah, that was a pretty nice Spider-Man suit. I wasn't expecting to enjoy it as much as I did. But
yeah.
It looked good.
It was great, actually. Movie. I loved it.
Yeah, in the marketing, I wasn't taking Iron Spider, but in practice, like both the way it's introduced as a last-ditch attempt to save his life.
Yeah.
And it's like the fact that it has the Waldos, the extra spider legs on the back.
Oh, yeah, the Waldos are great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and reminiscent of Dr. Octopus.
Right, exactly. Which, yeah, because when Dr. Octopus was Spider-Man, he used those too.
Yep.
I just like that he had this extra Spider-Man suit ready to go while flying through the air.
He was going to give it to him at the end of Homecoming, remember?
Yes, he was.
We see the suit that Stark was about to give him, but then he's like, no thanks, Mr. Stark. And then at the end, Stark mails him the cloth one, and it's like, well, you can at least have this one.
Got it.
I am surprised that his suit didn't have his AI in it, though. I'm surprised that because remember the Spider-Man got his own AI in Homecoming that was in his suit.
Right, he did have his own AI. In this one, it was Tony's regular AI in Spider-Man's suit, wasn't it?
Yeah, I assume so. Well, but you never hear him conversing with his AI. He mentioned something about, like, oh, I did this, and the suit responded to my thoughts.
Yeah, well, I think Stark says something to the suit, like, get Spider-Man out of here.
But that is Jarvis, though. He's talking to Jarvis.
Right,
he says, send
Jarvis.
him home. Yeah.
Yes. All right.
Well, it's not Jarvis, it's Friday, because Jarvis is Vision.
Right.
It's his girl Friday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right, Gal Friday.
Yeah, his Gal Friday, exactly. Anything else about Infinity War?
What do you think of the ending?
That was pretty good.
Awesome. Yeah. Look, don't get me wrong. I would have loved all one movie.
Yeah.
Like, part ones and part twos, I'm sick of it. I don't want to do it anymore. Like, it ruined the Hobbit movies.
How could you not in this case, though?
But yeah, in this case, the scale really did require it, and the problem actually becomes that because of that ending, it makes Ant-Man and the Wasp sort of less interesting, because you're like, man, after all that shit I just saw, and now I have to watch this hilarious crime caper?
Right. Well, maybe there will be something about there's not as many heroes anymore, and Ant-Man needs to step up because pick up the slack.
This movie does take place before Infinity War, it's said.
Ant-Man does.
Ant-Man does.
But
So,
they gave us such a hype, 2.5 hours. That's like if Ant-Man doesn't live up to even half of it, which it may not,
Right.
it could be a real.
someone
Follow up that with a touching family comedy.
Well, someone on Twitter was positing that this movie might end with somebody dissolving, just to show it that how it ties in. How dark would it be if the movie ends with Scott's daughter dissolving away?
Oh my god!
That's just pull at those heartstrings.
Because then you bring back Hawkeye and Ant-Man in Avengers 4 when the Avengers need to go and find anybody they can because almost all the heroes are gone, and Scott's like, "Holy shit! Yes, I'm going after Thanos."
Right. Maybe bring him up to new levels of awesome.
Right. Exactly.
Everyone kind of needs to get to that point where they're like, Thanos must die!
I mean, I won't be, like, even though I just posited that for Ant-Man, I would actually be less surprised if we find out that Hawkeye's wife disintegrated, and that's why he's back. Because we know Hawkeye's coming back as Ronin in this one, and Hawkeye only becomes Ronin when something bad happened to him.
All right.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well.
Did you have any other TV or movies, Sam?
Nah, I've been mostly watching old stuff. Like I said, I watched Arrested Development. And,
Right.
It's still a great show. Everybody should watch it if they haven't seen it. It's about miscommunication between rich
Idiots.
assholes.
Yeah.
Rich idiots, exactly. And all the comedy that can come
Wow.
from that.
That is an amazing summary of what Arrested Development is.
It's true.
Because you are right.
Oh yeah, every other line is one character mishearing another or not understanding what the other is talking about or being disgusted by what the person said, not understanding what they actually mean.
Right. All the double entendres.
Oh yeah.
Some of the writing in that show is absolutely amazing.
Oh.
Where did they pull this out of?
Yeah, truly
So,
next level.
Everybody should watch it.
Like, it's crazy to think that it got canceled due to low viewership.
Yeah, really.
is.
It's the name, I tell you.
I guess maybe.
As a kid, every
People
time I
don't
saw
understand.
Arrested Development, I'm like, that is not a fun show.
No.
People don't understand what Arrested Development means.
Right,
That's
which
fair.
is all those characters have it.
Right. What about you? You watch anything?
I did. Actually, just this morning, I managed to catch up on the second episode of the second season of Westworld. This was a good episode. It actually flashed back quite a bit to show us a lot of the backstory of the creation of the park and
nice.
investors in the park. And the things that, and some of the things that happened to Dolores even before the park opened, that she is now remembering because she remembers everything that ever happened. She's the main robot, so she's remembering, like, being taken to parties and shown off as, like, this is an example of what Westworld is. Like,
Ooh.
and that along, and we got a lot of the good Ed Harris plot line in this one, where he's trying to recruit the robots that he knows he can get onto his side because he's the best at the park. He's the 10th level gamer who knows all the cheat codes and has played the game 8,000 times.
Gotcha.
So he knows which guys he can recruit, but some guys he goes to recruit and the guys say, sorry, the game isn't supposed to be this easy for you, and then they shoot themselves in the head because maybe everything that's happening is actually just a crazy game that Anthony Hopkins designed for him before he died in the first season.
Ooh.
Because-
That's actually really cool.
Because when it comes down to it, this whole revolution that's happening, all this craziness with the hosts, still might be programming. The show is very good at playing the game of which of the hosts is still acting only under programming and which is acting not under programming. We only know one host for sure has rejected programming, and we only know that because one of the creators went on an interview and was like, oh, that moment in the finale of the first episode, that was that robot breaking programming.
Okay.
Interesting.
Maeve, the secondary main character.
So the reason that they said that is because then everyone's like, every guy's breaking out, when really it's only the one.
Dolores might be. We aren't sure yet. She's trying to break Teddy out of returning, James Marsden. But he's real resistant to it. But we got to see a slideshow of all the times he's died, and he's going after the program. Why do you do this to us? And he's choking the guy to death. And he goes, "For fun."
Wow.
And
Dark.
it's real, and it still continues to play coy with what's going on with the outside world, because they have characters delivering lines to the robots like, you have no idea what's out there, you have no idea what's waiting for you out there. Yeah. We're seeing these parties for the rich in flashbacks, but they're like, you're ignoring all the things that are going on outside, which is weirdly like the issue of Batman that came out this week.
Good issue, by the way.
Yeah, it's real engrossing, well acted, amazingly shot. Half the characters didn't even show up in this episode, and it was still fantastic. Yeah. It's just spectacular.
Yeah, this show sounding better all the time. I need to.
You guys need to
get into that.
Sam turned it on for like 2 minutes one evening, but it was exactly when I was going to bed. So it's just like we'll get around to it another
That
time.
was Legion.
That was Legion?
That was Legion.
Oh, okay.
Did you watch the first episode of Legion?
No, Will left, so I was like, man.
All right.
Yeah.
But that's it for Westworld. I'll continue to check in weekly, because that's the one thing dramatic. I mean, I'm watching some other stuff weekly. Brooklyn Nine-Nine continues to be funny, but what do you say about that?
Is that back on?
Yeah, we're back into the current season. And there has been some funny episodes.
All right.
Yeah, we got to meet Jake's sister. We've seen Jake's bachelor party, which involved Reginald Val John. Oh, I'm probably not getting his name right, but the guy who's the cop in Die Hard shows up.
Nice.
And Holt gets real drunk in that episode, so it's wonderful.
That's cool. I'm going to be watching that again then soon.
But I guess we should move on to some character rankings.
I think that is a great idea.
So this time I prepared 2 lists,
All right.
2 separate themes that I would like you guys to decide which 3 characters you'd like to rank.
All right.
Now the 3 characters are either 3 doctors or 3 Klingons.
Doctors.
I agree, doctors.
Okay.
Let's do some doctors.
Let's do some doctors. We'll save the Klingons.
Yeah. I like doctors, man.
So, the first doctor we're going to talk about is the first doctor to talk about, which is McCoy.
McCoy.
Dr. McCoy. What's his first name? Oh, why? So stupid.
You're right.
Oh, God. It's right on the tip.
James?
No. It's, anyway.
Yeah, weird. Okay, well, anyway. Yeah, McCoy.
Doc McCoy. The best character, maybe, on the original series.
And still great in other appearances.
Definitely the best character of the reboot film trilogy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's hands down true.
He is the cantankerous country boy.
I mean,
he shows up in the first episode of Next Gen.
No.
And take care of the ship. And she'll take care of you.
Yeah. Well, just the fact that he's not having any of anybody's nonsense.
It's a weird thing about the doctors, which is like, sometimes they seem a little more erratic than the rest of the crew, but when it really comes down to it, they get the job done.
Yeah, the doctors are always more erratic, except for Dr. Crusher. Right. And Dr. Pulaski. But everybody else is like, what's your deal? For one reason or the other.
They have to deal with some horrors, man.
Yeah, and Pulaski's still rather, oh, man.
Well, Pulaski's just McCoy, but a girl.
Well, yeah, that's true.
She's the transporter. She's cantankerous and treats Data like McCoy treated Spock.
Yeah.
That's very true. That's a good point.
Well, I know you like Pulaski. Sam Pulaski, when it comes down to it, is a failed experiment.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, we're not talking about Pulaski this week.
Spoilers.
Spoilers.
We're talking about McCoy.
I think that the place to start ranking McCoy is, well, is he better than Kirk? Overall?
Overall, it doesn't have as much of an impact as Kirk.
So let's move down a little bit, because I think I would agree.
I agree, too.
Is McCoy better or worse than Gul Dukat?
I'm going to say worse.
I'm going to say worse, too, but I think we might want to put him just right under.
Because do you think Dr. McCoy is better than Khan Noonien Singh?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I do.
All right, I can't go any lower than that on Dr. McCoy. All right, Dr. McCoy. We'll get that first name in as soon as we look that up. Because, wow, that is like an embarrassing moment as Star Trek fans.
Yeah.
It really is. Hold on.
I'm embarrassed. Hold on. Leonard! Oh, no! Oh, I knew it was Leonard. God damn it. I was thinking it, and I was like, no, Leonard Nimoy. That's why I'm thinking of it. All right. Sorry, everybody. We're sorry. We're so sorry.
Yeah, sorry. We really like Star Trek.
We do. I promise.
Please believe us.
All right. Next up is, I think, somebody who might actually shoot for higher than McCoy, and that is Dr. Julian Bashir.
Yeah, he should tire. He should tire for that good on Kirk for me. I love Bashir. Bashir is like one of the best characters in Star Trek.
Do you like Bashir more than Odo?
I like Bashir more than Odo.
Oh, interesting.
He is where Odo's more important to the overall story of Deep Space Nine.
Right.
Bashir has more development overall.
He has a lot of development because he is super annoying at first.
He really is.
And that really makes the character, because at the beginning of the show, you find him kind of annoying, and at the end of the show, he's great. And it's like that growth is kind of what you want in a Star Trek.
Right. His friendship with Miles O'Brien is one of the highlights of everything in Star Trek overall, and it might be the best friendship.
Yeah.
Like, Data Geordi kind of gets up
friendship.
there. Yeah. And honestly,
Data, less of emotions.
To be honest with you, the only real friendship I could see competing with that is Archer and Trip.
Yeah. Archer and Trip.
Because,
friendship.
Kim and Paris never feels like a great friendship because Paris is never not talking down to Harry.
Right.
And, I mean, Spock and Kirk, though. I mean, that might have to go.
That's an awkward relationship, but you're right, it's great.
That is not an awkward relationship. You're insane.
It's a beautiful relationship.
Yeah. But, anyway, so I think the question, though, is whether or not Bashir is better or worse than Lieutenant Commander Worf, son of Moog. Because I can't put him above Worf.
Oh, I can't either.
I honestly would put him beneath Spock and above Odo.
Beneath Spock? Do you think Spock is better than Bashir, Sam?
No, I don't.
I'm going to also have to...
My reasoning is mostly just the fact that Bashir starts out pretty annoying and Spock is always enjoyable.
I have to agree.
Spock.
I have to put... Sorry, you're outvoted. We have to put Doctor...
All right. That's why we're 3.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Otherwise, we'd never get anywhere.
Yeah. On another podcast I listen to where they do list ranks, when this happens, they have to flip a coin.
That's pretty good.
All right. So last, and definitely not least for me, to be honest with you, is going to be Dr. Phlox.
Dr. Phlox.
Dr. Phlox really ranks up there with the doctors for me.
He's a mad scientist.
Yes, indeed. And the frontier medicine man, because he's not using, the automatic skin regenerator and, like, the weird iron lung thing that Dr. Crusher loves to put people into.
Right, he's the closest to Xan from Farscape.
Right.
The medicine man.
Yeah, exactly. He's a very entertaining character. The actor is never not entertaining. He's one of the highlights of the first season when some of the characters are kind of annoying.
Yeah, he is.
The episode where he's alone on the ship, and because his species is so social,
he starts to... all-time.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And it has an M. Night Shyamalan twist in that episode.
Yes, it does. Definitely one of the best episodes of Enterprise right
In
there.
fact, all these crazy pets.
That episode where he's alone, that might be the only episode of Enterprise that I, think about more than, just once in a long while. I think about that episode actively when I'm thinking about Star Trek.
Right. Yeah. And that's the better version of the Voyager episode where 7 of 9 has to be alone for months.
Yep. Right, because 7 of 9 doesn't have a dog to chill with.
Well, she has the doctor to chill with for a while, but not through all of it. But her performance isn't quite as good as Phlox's performance. You really feel the fear that he's projecting, the confusion, the loneliness. It's a very complex and good episode, and he is a very complex and good character.
Yeah. Now, while I said all that, I don't know if I'd rank him higher than either of the two doctors we've already ranked.
I would not.
I would actually start Phlox right around Tuvok.
That's funny, because I was about to say Wayun, who's right below Tuvok.
Right. I think I might be able to be convinced that Tuvok is better than Phlox. In fact, I'm pretty sure he is.
I agree.
But I think that Phlox is better than Wayun.
I can agree with that, but I am definitely the amateur when it comes to Enterprise.
Right.
No, I fully agree with that assessment. Slightly worse than Tuvok, and slightly better than Wayun.
Yeah.
He doesn't have enough variance in his character to rank as highly as Phlox or Tuvok.
Yeah, because Phlox is definitely better than Janeway, definitely better than Archer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so sad that those captains are down there.
Again, Janeway to me is... Janeway and Archer are the boom middle of the list. Like, they are not fantastic, but they're not bad in any way.
Yeah, no, exactly. They are, very important characters. You're looking at me like I'm insane. Just keep talking, guys. Keep talking.
Well, that's it. That's our 3 characters ranked for the list.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. I'm not breaking things, I promise. I'm fixing things.
No, you deleted the entire list.
I need a break. Yes, I
You
need
need
a break.
a break?
Yeah.
Well, you're not getting your break.
I'm leaving.
No, we'll be right back.
All right, fine.
All right, and we are back. We are back to tell you about our Transformer of the Week.
All right, so...
This is the first Transformer I have picked.
Yes, this is Will's first selection. And Will selected the Decepticon Skywarp from the selection. Skywarp is, of course, one of Starscream's Seekers, one of the jet planes who are usually just recolors of Starscream,
All right.
like Thundercracker. Skywarp's special ability, though, which he has that no other Cybertronian has, is that he can teleport. He is like Nightcrawler.
Oh, wow.
Which would be devastating to the Autobots if Skywarp wasn't a huge idiot who really just loved nothing more than to horribly prank the other Decepticons. And that is his...
This is his own team, so he's the frat boy of Decepticons.
Of
Right.
course he is. He's purple.
As it says on the TF Wiki, Wikipedia site, what's not funny about somebody getting shoved down the stairs? So
well, that explains his character.
Yeah, really.
that's Skywarp.
Okay. Well, I think I made a good choice.
So for the comics this week, first I want to talk about something that I bought and read digitally.
We'll talk about the news first before we get into what we read.
But before I talk about that, let's talk about the news.
All right. Cool.
Shall I, Will?
Yeah, go for it.
The first thing is that DC announced that they were going to be ending their practice of putting a free digital code into their $3.99 monthly titles, which is too bad. It's fun. I was kind of taking advantage of that once in a while. I was doing it more with the Marvel books a while ago, but it becomes sort of a lot of work to always remember to do all the digital codes and get everything registered. So I haven't done it in a while. It's too bad, but I kind of understand why. I mean, digital is its own thing now, and I'm sure they make a fair bit of money on backlist digital sales. So.
And as a company like that, you're always considering the fact that someone might buy something 2 times if they want to have it in both places.
Exactly. In other news, Diversity in Comics. Our boy, Zach, who asked for, I believe it was $5,000 to produce a graphic novel on Indiegogo with his original characters, the Jawbreakers.
Yep.
He had to go ahead and add an extra 9 days to the campaign that was supposed to end this last Tuesday because so far they have grossed $130,000, unlocking a myriad of stretch goals. Cover is going to now be by A-list DC artist Ethan Van Sciver. People who donated at a higher perk level are going to now be getting 3 different prints along with the book itself. Plus, everybody who donated is going to be getting new editions of the first 2 Jawbreakers books that are not currently in print. The first one of which is being fully redrawn from the original art by Richard C. Meyer, which is admittedly not great.
That's so funny.
But so yeah, I am a backer of this project, and we will be reviewing that comic once it is eventually delivered. And Zach has requested that it be roasted, if it's roastable. So, guys, get ready.
Yeah, on Twitter earlier, I saw someone... Well, I saw him retweet some pictures of some Jawbreakers pins that are not actually a reward you can get, but because he was retweeting it, kind of implied that might become another thing. It's just like he's stacking stuff on top of this Indiegogo because it's huge. People really want to support this.
I mean,
it just seems hilarious.
A couple of days ago, he did post, like, does anybody know anything about action figure production? Like, what would it cost to do a limited run of action figures of a single character? And everybody online was like, oh, baby, what you doing?
And then he said that there weren't going to be any action figures, like, right after.
Right, exactly. Immediately realized.
Yeah.
But the stretch goals are there. And, But speaking of successful crowdfunding campaigns, the recently launched Kickstarter for the Hellboy board game is already over $1 million. That's
a lot of money.
The lowest level to back at, I think, is $120 just to get a copy of the game. We might want to do it, guys.
We should make a board game.
I know, right? Well, I mean, it's a little different when you have an amazing IP like Hellboy with such amazing art that can be so easily adapted. I've looked at this Kickstarter and seen like the figures they're creating and the maps and everything. And It is not surprising.
It costs $120 for a reason.
Yeah, this is one of those highly detailed, very well thought out. Like the art used is excellent, and as they've smashed through their stretch goals, there's been a number of excellent other characters. It looks very cool.
Hopefully it's fun to play.
Yeah, exactly. The main test, of course.
Well, with any board game.
And the last piece of news is that John Barber is going to be taking over as the editor-in-chief of IDW Comics.
Do you know anything about John Barber?
Yeah, he is the other writer of Transformers besides James Roberts, who was writing all of the really political Cybertron stuff in the Robots in Disguise title. I believe he started out as the Transformers group editor. And then I don't know if he took a larger role when they did the whole merger of all the different franchises. But when Chris Rial left last month as the longtime IDW editor-in-chief, they had the spot to fill. And to be honest with you, if anybody in the company is going to get it, I think John Barber's a good choice.
All right.
Because the dude is dedicated to continuity, and I think he really just wants to tell a legit good story. I don't think that he is a big social justice issue pusher.
Well, it would be a mistake to put one of those in CEO right now.
Well, I mean...
Or editor-in-chief, sorry.
The Transformers comics in general have been heading very strongly in that direction. Some of the writers on there, like Magritte Scott, it's not as bad as with the Marvel stuff.
Yeah.
Some of it is a little as for Transformers fans, but I think that he's the way to go. And they are relaunching continuity after the Unicron crossover this year. So, yeah.
Got it.
That's the news.
All right.
Cool.
Well, then now... How about tell us about some of the things you read this week?
Well, like I said, the one thing that I bought digitally, so I don't have it here to show you guys, but I bought the first issue of the Star Trek series Through the Mirror.
Whoa, Star Trek. I didn't see that coming.
Well, you may recall many podcasts ago, before we officially launched, I talked about an issue I had read that starred the next-gen characters' Mirror Universe counterparts, and it was like Buff Picard, and everybody was in sleeveless uniforms and everything. So now we're seeing those characters are going to be crossing over with the regular next-gen team. And the way they start this out is very cool, because there's a problem happening on a planet, and the Enterprise goes there to check it out, and Worf beams down with the security team, and they're investigating the planet, and they're having trouble figuring out what the problem is until Worf notices a member of the Enterprise crew down on the planet, like as a member of the planet's crew, and he looks exactly like the guy, except he has a goatee. So Worf is like, we gotta trail this guy, like, because the one we know doesn't have a goatee, right?
Yeah.
So they trail him, and the guy immediately realizes he's been found out, and a firefight is engaged, and Worf chases him to a transporter pad, and at the last second, Worf sees the guy beam away with a scary-looking Riker and a completely unrecognizable Geordi, who has like a two-eyed visor and a mustache and is totally bald.
That's tough.
And then we get a brief sequence that takes place in the Mirror Universe with the Mirror Universe Picard and Data, where we're learning that in the Mirror Universe, Emperor Spock apparently might still be alive, which they learned from torturing a guy, which is great. They put the guy into the torture chamber, and the person running the chamber is like, should we go maximum power? And Picard goes, make it so.
Jeez.
And then Evil Data kind of says that, like, hey, give me a ship and let me go out and I should be able to track down Spock for you. They take the captain's yacht, see what you can discover. So captain's yacht makes an appearance, which I always love.
Yeah, really.
And so it's all set up. Nothing really happens in this issue, but I'll probably pick up the next few and fill you guys in on how that goes, because that's some entertaining stuff.
It sounds like some good setup.
All right, but on to the physical comics that came out this week. I wanted to just start with the finale of the Venomized crossover.
Sounds good.
Tell me your thoughts on this scene, because I have strong thoughts on this finale.
You have strong thoughts?
I do.
I don't have strong thoughts on it. You see, I feel like all this time we've been getting through with just a little bit of information on what's actually going on and a whole lot of action.
Right.
And then this one, it kind of does that until
it stops.
It worked.
Yep. That's one of my big issues with it, is that there's a few great moments in it. Like, for example, when Carnage faces off against them and he says, hey, I'm not brainwashed.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still doing my own thing. And then Venom's like, me and Spider-Man will handle him. And Carnage's like, just like old times. And like, yeah, we're going to get an awesome Venom and Spider-Man versus Carnage sequence. Nope, don't see nothing. In fact, they just do exactly what happens in Infinity War with Ebony Maw, and they just blast Carnage out into space.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. It works.
Well, with Spider-Man.
With Spider-Man.
I thought they were going to do something cool with it, because the next time you see Spider-Man, like, the symbiote hasn't covered up the hole in his stomach from when he got hurt, and I thought that blood spraying out into face looks a little bit like it might be the tail end of the Carnage symbiote turning himself into Spider-Man.
Uh-huh.
But then they just show Carnage floating out through space. So,
and the funniest thing about that bit was when like the art shows you that they're about to blow Carnage out into space, and Spider-Man has just been stabbed, and you get this little shot where Venom's opened the hole, and Spider-Man and Carnage are going to fly into space, and it looks like they're about 10 feet apart, maybe 15 feet apart, and Venom goes, "Too long for a web line. Like, I can't save you, Spider-Man." Like, Venom 100% could have shot a web line right here and saved Spider-Man, so that's some BS.
yeah, that did not make much sense.
We get this... The alien master of the poisons,
the Hive Queen, I guess.
Hive Queen, which has this Hive Queen shown up before? Because they're treating it like we've seen the Hive Queen before and know what's going on.
Not in this run. This thing hasn't. We've gotten those little versions,
right?
That seem to maybe infect the symbiotes.
On the same page, there's this dialogue balloon that 100% seems like it was meant to be being spoken by the Professor X ghost to Jean Grey, but Jean Grey is saying it. Because it says, "Do you think I wouldn't notice how you resisted, Jean Grey?" Well, both of them are in the panel, so I almost guarantee you that arrow was supposed to be coming from him. His mouth is open. He's talking.
Yeah, I read that as him saying it without even looking at the fact that the bubble is pointing directly at her.
Right. So I feel like that was a mistake.
That feels like a mistake.
They Deus Ex Machina Jean Grey back to life because she reconstitutes her force from the poisons and then just instantly kills all of them.
Right. So she was in there the whole time somewhere.
They have Kid Kaiju go to the island where Elsa Bloodstone lives for some reason. I don't know. This was very half-baked into the overall plot of this issue.
Okay, but how cool was the Kid Kaiju stuff at the beginning?
Kid Kaiju is the man. Kid Kaiju is the MVP of this series, far more than my other main problem with this, which is that Venom barely plays a role.
He's not in it at all.
Venomized barely features Venom.
Venom's a guy in the background giving everybody advice that they're not really listening to.
Right, exactly. It's an X-Men and Kid Kaiju story. But Kid Kaiju, man, that is... I've not read Monsters Unleashed. This is a bit that introduced Kid Kaiju. I think he's a very recent creation. This is a character I want to see more of. This is the kind of character that Marvel should be creating.
Yeah,
he's cool, different. He has a notebook where he can draw monsters, and the monsters come to life if he draws them. Wow. And he can modify what happens to them by drawing his notebook. And like it appeals to us. This is a character that appeals to like 8-year-olds.
It's a great concept. I mean, the drawn to life video games are a lot of fun, and that's just the same thing.
Right. So, yeah, Kid Kaiju MVP, Venomized overall 2 out of 5.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
That is a thick comic.
5.
The next thing, which I tried to blast through so I could read all of it before we recorded today, because I want to say this is 60 pages or something.
I just flipped through it. I am an expert. I can guarantee it.
Yeah.
Didn't read a single text box.
This is this collects issues 1 and 4 of Jonathan Hickman's S.H.I.E.L.D. Jonathan Hickman's S.H.I.E.L.D. came out, I want to say, 6 years ago and never ended. I bought every issue of S.H.I.E.L.D. and read it. Right. I did not remember a lick of this. I read through this whole thing thinking that this was like what did come next.
Okay.
This is one of those comics that definitely needed one of those pages at the beginning that shows everybody's name in a little bubble next to their face so that you know who's who. It's a very interesting concept because S.H.I.E.L.D., the comic, is about what if the original S.H.I.E.L.D. was actually like Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo, and like later Nikola Tesla joins, and like Tony Stark's grandfather was an old member, and like the ancient Egyptians formed the original version of S.H.I.E.L.D. to hold off the first Brood invasion.
I mean, that in general, like going back to the ancients who have their own version, that is a long-running concept, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. But Hickman is really giving us the actual history of that S.H.I.E.L.D.
Okay, that's cool.
It's good, but it's a little harried. Like, it's very much a lot of crazy stuff is happening. Try to keep up.
I mean, there's not very many text boxes in what you're going through right now. It's just a lot of big action sequences, it looks like.
Yeah, the third issue, I want to say, was basically all action because this like weird robot they have goes crazy and ultra evolves and they have to shut it down. It does have this great 2-page sequence of them going through the human machine into the future and phasing through all the major eras of Marvel. Because there's the Age of Ultron right there. This looks like some sort of Age of Apocalypse thing with the Sentinels killing an elderly Wolverine. This is some 90s Marvel with some Skrulls and original Captain Marvel. Then we got some more Golden Age Marvel here with the original X-Men, Iron Man, Avengers.
That's some nice pillage right there.
And then the classic Golden Age Marvel with just the Fantastic Four and a classic style Fury. It's some good stuff. Dustin Weaver's art is excellent throughout. But yeah, I think that the reason they released this is because S.H.I.E.L.D. is finally coming back and we get a resolution to this story.
All right.
And yeah, it's a cool, weird, different Jonathan Hickman book.
It looks pretty good.
And you know Hickman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you mentioned Bubbles with Faces, I'm like, hey, I know Hickman.
Yeah, exactly. So next is an issue that I said I wasn't going to pick up, but there wasn't that much this week. So
you just couldn't resist.
To grab it. You know, I guess we gave it another chance.
What a flaming pile of garbage.
Ooh.
It's funny because this is actually one that Diversity in Comics liked. At least he likes the first issue. But I think he likes Philip Tan's artwork, which just never works for me. I could not even follow the plot of this comic. Why is his sister such an expert on it?
She knows everything.
She started saying some stuff, and I swore that it was going to have some dialogue where he's like, "How do you know all this?" But it's no. It's like she knows what like the weird guy is named that gave him the salesman who gave him the powers. And did he destroy the town in this or not?
Okay, he did not destroy the town in this,
but everything's iced.
This is like it's not all iced either. They're still having their little showdown, but they don't really explain all. Okay, well, first of all, the sister. She literally dictates everything that has happened to him, even though she was not in any way involved. And that's what you're talking about.
And even though we read the first issue, so we know.
Yes.
We don't need to be wasting giant dialogue boxes on explaining to us what happened an issue ago.
Too much text. It's like a 10th grader wrote this for a school assignment that they didn't really care about. That's how I feel reading this. I'm not joking.
Yeah, it wants to be Ghost Rider, and it's not getting there. What does this cover? This covers nothing to do with the plot. It's like a hick with an axe on a stool on a porch, and it's all bloody, and Brimstone is like coming to kill him.
Yeah,
this has nothing to do with anything.
Absolutely,
in the issue.
Absolutely not.
This, to me, of all the New Age of Heroes books, this is the most infuriating. Because Sideways is just lame, but this...
Right. The first issue, he's an angsty teen. This issue, he's like a pansy ass.
So it doesn't seem like they know what they're doing with the character at all. Like they don't know what they want.
It's worse. It seems like they really know what... They think they know what they're doing. They think they really know what they want. And they're really giving it to us, and it ain't good.
They don't know how to get from A to B. They just know where A is and where B is.
Right.
That actually is so much worse.
And let's have some characters yell at each other in between.
Yeah, exactly.
Next, I want to talk about issue 46 of Batman, part 2 of The Gift.
Oh, so much better. This is a great comic.
This is... Weirdly, I've been seeing a lot of backlash to this couple of issues online, but to me, this is the best it's been.
Booster Gold's dialogue is written so well. It's perfect. It's so entertaining.
Booster's the worst. The absolute worst. He's been living in this reality for at least a year now. We know for a fact.
Yes.
And he goes and frees Catwoman, who in this reality is a mass murderer, because he thinks that the way to break Bruce out of this false reality is to introduce him to Selina, who in the regular reality is like, he's like, true love will win. And so he makes Catwoman up a costume, but he's bad at sewing, so she ends up in her Batman Returns stitched together leather costume.
Hilariously stitched.
Which is excellent, actually. I did like that bit.
Good detail.
And Thomas Wayne does have a heart attack in this, and Bruce is very concerned about Thomas Wayne dying, obviously, and he doesn't care that the city is going to hell around him, as long as his dad's fine. And Booster shows up with Selina, and Selina murders everyone. She murders Alfred first, and then she murders Thomas Wayne, and then Dick Grayson, Batman, shows up and shoots Selina, and looks like she's going to die, but then she slices off Dick Grayson Batman's fingers and murders him.
Oof.
And then apparently Dick Grayson Batman accidentally shoots Martha Wayne, and she dies.
What?
So Bruce Wayne grabs a gun and shoots Dick Grayson Batman in the eye. and
then Booster.
And Bruce is kneeling in the room, surrounded by all of his dead loved ones, screaming no. And Booster, groggy, Booster, did I do it? I bet I did it. I'm a hero. I always do it. I have to do it. I saved the world.
It's so good. Like, he's written so perfectly.
So, yeah, this is... somebody online was mad that we were introduced to future Dick Grayson Batman who wielded a gun, when just recently in Detective Comics we were introduced to a gun-wielding future Batman, Tim Drake. So I can kind of see being annoyed by that, but I'm not reading that series, so I don't care.
And besides, this is so much more...
This is essentially an Elseworlds book.
Yes, exactly.
Like, for all intents and purposes, this is Elseworlds.
Booster Gold makes this some sort of weird... Just, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't have to make sense.
It's almost Shakespearean.
Right. One of those Shakespearean comedies.
Right.
So last, we should talk about DC Nation Zero, which they put out for only 25 cents, because they wanted everybody to read it, because it is cluing people into the next part of the Batman run with the wedding, and the two big launches that are coming, which is the Brian Michael Bendis Man of Steel, and Scott Snyder's No Justice, which is spinning directly out of Metal.
All right.
So there's 3 short stories in here. The first one is by Tom King, Clayman, and is basically a side story of the Batman run. And it is the short story about the Joker going to a random dude's house to wait for his invitation to Batman and Catwoman's wedding.
Come on, this is
it's so good.
100% 90s Batman cartoon Joker.
Yeah. Absolutely. This is the Joker who will show up and pretend to be your buddy right up until he puts a knife in your eye.
He's letting the guy drive himself insane. He's barely even doing the work.
Right. This is basically a short version of that episode of the animated series where
he's messing with the guy.
Right. He messes with that guy until all he needs him to do is open a door during like his big final battle. Joker's great. He says some legitimately funny jokes in this
yes, that's
issue.
Definitely true.
Which, like the Riddler, like it always feels like a waste when one of these characters shows up and it's just a murderous goon.
That's true.
Actually like making jokes or doing riddles. But yeah, like Joker, they're so offhand and casual. And when he says, "I'll be honest with you, I never learned the alphabet. I don't know why."
yeah, really. They're just great jokes.
And and Clayman draws one of the creepiest Jokers ever.
Because
it's kind of off model, but
it's because he's so like normally Joker has some like distinct features, and this is just such an everyman with the Joker makeup.
I mean, those eyes,
creepy.
though. It's almost like his eyes are permanently open.
Yes,
like
and his mouth,
they're
too.
too wide.
Agreed.
Yeah. Right. Like, there's not much motion to him. Like, he's kind of a mannequin Joker.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
He's got that level of creepy.
A living doll.
I can agree with that.
So let me ask you, did Joker kill his daughter?
No, I do not think Joker did kill his daughter.
It was just a letter about his daughter being late. And his daughter happened to be late to get home that day. Because his daughter never comes home that day.
That's true.
I didn't pick that one up.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's even darker. But then Joker just decides to kill the guy in the end anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when he's happy, he kills people.
Just like when he's angry.
What a Joker.
The next story was the lead-in to the Man of Steel run by Brian Michael Bendis, which was a short, sort of introducing us to the new status quo. And wow, no Lois, no John.
It is it is okay.
Yes, it is. It's very talky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it definitely has its levels of intrigue and what's going on.
He does make you nervous because Lois is gone, and then he comes out and introduces the super genius, hot new woman of color reporter. And you're like, oh no, Brian Michael Bendis, what you doing?
Yeah.
But then he pulls it out and he's like, nah, don't worry, I got an angle on it because she is definitely the villain. Or at least is some sort of like subterfuge, maybe some sort of secret agent thing. This isn't just going to be like the better version of Lois.
Yeah, no.
Because Lois can't be the successful one.
Well, and Superman doesn't seem to like this woman.
No, yeah, he seems instantly suspicious, which he should be since there is suspicion about her. But the implication does seem to be that something is going on with Lois that is bothering him, but he can't do anything about yet.
Right.
So, yeah, we're going to see just how much of a reboot this run is. I really am curious, because if Bendis is really going to throw the baby out with the bathwater and try to go back to some sort of classic version of Superman, just ignore everything that Tomasi and Gleason did on that Superman book, I would be sad.
It's true. Yeah.
Very sad.
Yeah, and I think if this is a sign of things to come, then it's not as hype as Superman has been.
It's true. Yeah, I like Superman the Family Man, honestly. It has become one of the things that has really differentiated him from every other character, really. Like, the Fantastic Four would kind of get into that a little bit, but the Fantastic Four was kind of always coming from the angle that Reed is a well-intentioned bad father.
Yeah.
Superman is like the dad you would want.
Right, super dad.
Yeah.
That's classic Superman. That's the Superman you want, is the classic Superman, but, inserted into the modern world.
Right, exactly.
Right. Golden Age Superman.
Yeah.
When you're a child, your father can do no wrong. When
Yeah.
you're an adult, Superman can do no wrong.
That's a good way to put it.
The last story in here was the preview for the upcoming No Justice series by Scott Snyder. And, oh gosh, who is the artist on this? I feel bad not remembering. Jorge Jimenez.
Jorge, I'm very much looking forward to this.
Damn, this looks good.
Yeah.
This is directly following out of Metal. Batman once again mentions the fishbowl analogy being the reason for everything that's happening.
Yeah.
I knew I would like this one right from the beginning, because right here in the top left of the first page, Lobo is on. Batman, I noticed, gave himself the team. I think of people who he thought would be the least difficult to control, because there's a couple villains on each of the 4 Justice League teams. But Right.
Batman, on Batman's team, only Beast Boy is traditionally a good guy, because Batman's working with Beast Boy, Lex Luthor, Deathstroke, and Lobo.
Oh, man, what a team for Batman to lead.
And they are Team Entropy of the 4 teams that Batman needed to create to fight the Celestials. I don't know what DC's going to call. I can't even remember what they called them in this, but it's Marvel Celestials.
That's
right.
Yeah, the Superman is on Team Mystery, along with Sinestro, Martian Manhunter, Starfire, and Starro. That team is ridiculously overpowered.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody on that team is crazy powerful.
Yep.
So that's entertaining.
What if that group just ends up breezing through everything while everyone else is struggling?
I mean, Starro's having a great time, man. And if you remember, Starro showed up briefly in Metal, where he was talking like a dude bro.
Yeah.
So Snyder was essentially setting this up for sure. Yeah, you may want to actually read Metal at some point,
I'm
because
sure
if you're
I will
into
want
this,
to go back and read Metal at some point.
Wonder Woman's leading Team Wonder, which is the Magic team. We got Raven, Dr. Fate, Etrigan the Demon, and Zatanna, Sorceress Supreme. Etrigan the Demon, baby, on a team with Wonder Woman. And shit, Dr. Fate...
As something else.
Dr. Fate is the Doctor Strange of the DC Universe.
Yep.
So this is the team of chance.
Yes, exactly. And then Team Wisdom, for some reason, has Harley Quinn on it.
Yeah, I know that.
Wow.
And she gets the... You
know who she is, Captain.
Yeah, while everyone else is who they are.
Diversity in Comics hates those. He
Yeah.
hates the overly clever caption box. And then everybody
I
else
hate
is
that
normal.
too.
It's actually their description.
Yeah.
But then Harley Quinn is the you know who she is. Oh, that's so annoying.
I agree.
A few of those
completely agree.
descriptions are a little wacky.
They're a little wacky.
I mean, I like
but-
Cyborg, half man, half machine.
Right, Robin, son of
Right, that's
Batman,
what it
Flash,
is.
fastest man alive. Like, it is what they are. Is Batman the world's greatest detective?
I'm indeed.
He should be.
Oh, Batman doesn't even get a caption box because we all know Batman. Oh, no, Dark Knight. There it is,
Okay,
the first
Dark
page.
Knight.
Okay.
There.
But yeah, Robin, for some reason, is on the multiversal team. That's nuts. Batman, what are you doing?
Well,
That's your
that's
son.
Damian Robin.
Yeah, I know it's Damian
Awesome.
Robin, but of everybody on all of these teams, I guess besides Deathstroke,
Yeah.
he's got no powers.
Yeah, why
Yeah.
is
Why is
he
Adam-
with Harley Quinn of all people? It's very
Well,
odd.
has no powers.
Well, that actually may be why.
Oh.
Robin may be able to keep tab on Harley Quinn.
They're the
That's
Watcher.
fair.
But that said, Team Wisdom, you got Flash, you got Cyborg. Those are some smart guys. Adam is also a scientist.
They're also awesome.
Yeah. I've never heard Adam referred to as the world's smallest hero. I bet that probably was the subtitle on his old book, but I love that.
That is a great headline.
And, yeah, we even get a little glimpse at the end that Green Arrow and Supergirl are going to be involved because the Celestials skipped all the crap that the 4 Justice League teams were doing to try to stop them and just came right to Earth.
Yep.
So the question is, fellas,
Yeah.
we got previews for 3 runs going forward here. Which ones should we read for the podcast? What do you guys want to read?
I mean, overall, I'd say cut out the Bendis and get the other two.
I'd have
Think
to
so?
agree.
I
mean, okay, we get a Bendis.
We'll
Give him
try
a
Man of
chance.
Steel one.
Give him a
We
shot.
should get all three. We'll read all three.
but yeah, like 2 very, very hype and 1 Bendis. And you know, they've been trying to hype up Bendis so much, I'm so unhyped.
Bendis is here, baby.
Oh,
He is
man.
here!
Oh god.
It's really tough when they overhype something.
Like that.
Every other page, Bendis is coming!
Right, with teasers.
And you guys read that bit in the Action Comics 1000 where it introduced the villain of the run, and I gotta be honest,
Yeah,
it's kind of generic feeling.
exactly.
It feels like he's gonna be a combination of Doomsday and Brainiac.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, just that compared to those other two, it's just, you can't even compare them.
Yeah.
Wow. This has been a fantastic episode, and I think it is time for us to go.
Lead us out, Will.
Indeed. So, you, the listener, we would love for you to engage with our podcast. We love you. So you should follow us on Twitter at @the_lag. That's lag with 2 A's, LAAG. And you should send us a tweet. We got some hashtags. You could tweet the lag, or you could send out a tweet about Transformer of the Week, which we're going to start popularizing real soon. It's going to be huge. Get in there early. Also, if you want to just send us a direct email because you ain't a Twitter user, you can email us at lagentertainment@gmail.com. Again, lag has 2 A's. And we're also on Libsyn at lagentertainment.libsyn.com. And on YouTube, you can just look up LAAG Entertainment or the LAAGcast. And real soon we'll be on all your podcasting services, probably this week. So everybody, thank you so much for listening to the LAAGcast. You're what makes this work. And we'll see you next week.
Take care, folks.
Bye. 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 Bye.